They told the Mafia boss never to let anyone touch him, that the day someone did, he'd become the monster his father built. The black girl at the party didn't know that when she kissed him to make her ex jealous. Now 12 people are dead, and she still thinks it was just a kiss. Rian was 7 years old the first time his father made him stop crying, not with comfort, with consequences. "Emotion is weakness," his father said, standing over him in the cold basement. "Weakness gets you killed." Rian learned fast. Sadness meant punishment. Fear meant isolation. Joy meant disappointment. By 10, he stopped feeling altogether. His father called it progress. Doctors called it dissociation. Rian called it survival. The old man ran one of the most feared syndicates in East Asia. He didn't need a son. He needed a weapon. So he built one. Rian was trained in combat, strategy, manipulation. But the hardest training wasn't physical. It was mental. "Never let anyone close," his father warned. "The moment you care, you lose control." Rian obeyed. He didn't hug, didn't shake hands unless necessary, didn't let anyone touch his skin without gloves, without distance, without reason. It wasn't paranoia. It was survival. Because something happened when people got too close. Something broke inside him. The first time it happened, Rian was 15. A girl at school grabbed his arm during a fire drill. She was scared. He felt nothing. But his body reacted. His heart raced. His vision sharpened. His breath went shallow. Then the rage came. Not at her. At everything. He couldn't explain it. Couldn't control it. It lasted for hours. His father noticed immediately. "You have a condition," the old man said coldly, triggered by emotional contact, affection, closeness. "It unlocks something dangerous in you." Rian didn't understand. "Your mind was built to shut off emotion," his father continued. "But when someone breaks through, even accidentally, your brain overcompensates. It floods. You become unstable, violent, obsessive." Rian stared at him. "Fix it," his father ordered, "or I'll put you down myself." So Rian fixed it. Years of therapy, conditioning, isolation. He learned to avoid all unnecessary human contact. No relationships, no affection, no vulnerability. By 25, he was perfect. Cold, controlled, untouchable. His father died when Rian turned 28. He inherited the empire without hesitation. His men called him the Ghost. Not because he was invisible, because he felt like one. No anger, no joy, no fear, nothing. He ran the syndicate with ruthless precision, made decisions without emotion, killed without hesitation. He was everything his father wanted, and he was completely empty. For over a decade, no one touched him, not his guards, not his allies, not the women who tried to seduce him for power. He kept them all at arm's length, because he knew the truth. One touch could unravel everything. One moment of emotional contact could bring back the monster. So he stayed alone, safe, in control. Until the night a black girl at a party grabbed his face and kissed him in front of 200 people. And everything his father warned him about came flooding back. Rian's condition had a name. The therapists called it trauma-induced hyperattachment disorder with dissociative breaks. His father called it the switch. Rian called it hell. It worked like this. His brain learned to suppress everything, every feeling, every need, every human instinct. But suppression that extreme wasn't natural. It was forced, violent. So when something broke through, unexpected touch, emotional warmth, genuine affection, his mind couldn't process it. It flooded, like a dam exploding. Everything he'd buried for years came crashing out at once, and it never came gently. The symptoms hit in stages. Stage 1, hyper-awareness. He'd notice everything about the person who triggered him, their voice, their scent, the exact shade of their eyes. He couldn't stop analyzing them, couldn't look away. Stage 2, obsession. Not love, not attraction. Something darker. a need to know where they were every second, to keep them within reach, to monitor their safety like his life depended on it. Stage 3, protectiveness. Irrational, extreme, violent. Anyone who threatened them became an enemy. Logic disappeared, strategy failed, only instinct remained. Stage 4, rage. The worst part, uncontrollable, explosive, deadly. When the protectiveness couldn't be satisfied, the rage took over. He'd lose time, black out, wake up with blood on his hands. His father's solution was brutal. 2 years of isolation therapy, sensory deprivation, conditioning that felt like torture, no human contact, no affection, no warmth, nothing. "You will bury it," his father said, "or I'll bury you." Ryan buried it. When he emerged, the switch was so deep he thought it was gone forever. For 10 years, he lived like a machine. No relationships, no closeness, no skin-to-skin contact unless absolutely necessary. He built walls, routines, distance. His men thought he was just disciplined, professional, cold by choice. They didn't know he was one touch away from destruction. Ryan convinced himself he'd won, that the monster was dead, that he'd never feel again. He ran his empire with ruthless precision, made decisions without hesitation, killed without guilt. He was untouchable, safe, in control, until her, a stranger at a party, a girl who didn't know his name, a girl who kissed him because she was hurt and reckless and trying to prove something to someone else. She had no idea what she'd done, but Ryan felt it immediately. The second her lips touched his, something inside him cracked. Not broke, not yet, but cracked, like glass under pressure. He felt his heart rate spike, his senses sharpen, his focus narrow onto her face. And he knew. The switch was waking up. He left the party within minutes, didn't say a word, didn't explain, just disappeared into the night, hands shaking, breath uneven. His men followed in silence. They didn't ask questions. But Min Jun, his closest enforcer, noticed something. Ryan's jaw was clenched, his eyes unfocused, his movements too controlled, like he was forcing himself to stay calm. Min Jun had seen that look once before, years ago, before the isolation, before Ryan became the ghost. And it terrified him, because if the switch was back, no one was safe, not even Ryan himself. Ava Enkim didn't come to Seoul looking for danger. She came looking for herself. 24 years old, fashion design student, Nigerian-American with big dreams and a broken heart she was tired of carrying. Her ex, Deji, shattered her in ways she didn't expect. 3 years together. Promises. Plans. A future she believed in. Then she found out he was cheating. With her roommate. For 6 months. Everyone told her to stay in the States. To heal at home. But Ava didn't want to heal surrounded by pity and memories. She wanted to disappear, to rebuild, to prove she didn't need him or anyone else. So she applied to a fashion program in Seoul, got accepted, packed her life into 2 suitcases, and left. Seoul was nothing like home. The language, the food, the pace, everything moved fast. Everything felt foreign. But Ava loved it. She threw herself into her work, spent hours sketching, sewing, learning Korean in between classes. She made a few friends, went to cafes, explored neighborhoods. For the first time in months, she felt like herself again. No drama, no heartbreak, no chaos, just her dreams, her future. Then Deji showed up. He texted her out of nowhere, said he was in Seoul for business, wanted to see her, to talk. Ava blocked him immediately, but 2 days later, he found her anyway. Walked right up to her outside campus with that same smug smile, that same arrogance. "You look good, Ava," he said, like nothing happened, like he didn't destroy her. She wanted to walk away, to ignore him, but he kept talking about how he missed her, how the other girl meant nothing, how he made a mistake. Ava's blood boiled. "You don't get to do this," she said quietly. "Do what?" "Show up. Act like you care. Like I'm supposed to fall back into your arms." Deji laughed. "Come on, Ava. You know we're good together." That laugh, That entitlement. It made her sick. Her friend Hannah invited her to a party that weekend. High-class event, Hannah said. Rich people, fashion connections. You need to come. Ava almost said no, but then Hannah mentioned Deji would probably be there, with his co-workers, acting like he owned the city. Perfect, Ava said. I'm coming. She didn't go to network. She went to prove a point. She wore a black dress that hugged her curves, did her makeup flawless, hair perfect. She walked into that party looking like she didn't need anyone, and she didn't, until she saw Deji across the room, laughing, drinking, surrounded by people. He spotted her, smirked, raised, his glass like he'd already won. Something inside Ava snapped. She was done being the girl who got hurt, the girl who walked away quietly, the girl who let him have the last word. Her eyes scanned the room. She needed someone, anyone, someone who looked powerful, untouchable, someone who would make Deji's smirk disappear. And then she saw him, tall, sharp suit, cold expression, standing alone near the corner like he didn't belong to anyone. He looked dangerous. Perfect. Ava didn't think. She walked straight toward him, heart pounding, adrenaline rushing. She didn't know his name, didn't care. All she knew was that Deji was watching, and she was done being small. She reached the stranger, looked him in the eyes, and without a word she grabbed his face and kissed him, hard, bold, in front of everyone. The room went silent. She pulled back, smiled, walked away. She didn't see the way the man froze, didn't see the way his hands trembled, didn't see the way his entire world just shattered. Rion didn't want to be at the party, but business didn't care about preference. A European syndicate wanted a meeting. Neutral ground, public setting, high-class event where no one would suspect anything. So Ryan came. Not alone, never alone. Min Jun and 4 other enforcers blended into the crowd. Expensive suits, calm faces, trained eyes watching every exit. Ryan stayed in the shadows near the corner, away from the crowd, away from the noise. He hated these events. Too many people, too much contact, too many chances for someone to get close. But he played his role, showed his face, let his presence send the message it needed to send. The European contact is upstairs, Min Jun said quietly beside him, waiting in the private lounge. Ryan nodded. Let them wait. He scanned the room out of habit, cataloging faces, exits, threats. Nothing unusual, just rich people pretending to enjoy themselves. Then he saw her, not because she stood out, because she moved with purpose. A black woman in a fitted black dress cutting through the crowd like she was on a mission. Rion's eyes followed her automatically. A reflex, nothing more. She wasn't a threat, just another guest. He looked away, focused back on the room. But something made him glance back. She'd stopped, right in front of him. Ryan's body went still. She was close, too close. He should have stepped back, created distance. But before he could move, she did something he didn't expect. She grabbed his face. Her hands were warm, soft, firm. And then she kissed him. The world stopped. Rion's mind went blank. Her lips pressed against his, bold, confident, unapologetic. The entire room seemed to freeze. People turned, whispered, stared. Cameras flashed. But Rion didn't see any of it. All he felt was her, the warmth of her skin, the softness of her touch, the shock of contact he hadn't felt in over a decade. His heart slammed against his ribs, his breath caught. His hands trembled at his sides. She pulled back, smiled, and walked away. Just like that. Like it meant nothing. Like she hadn't just destroyed 10 years of control in 3 seconds. Ryan stood frozen, his vision sharpened, his pulse roared in his ears. He felt something crack deep inside his chest, not his heart, something worse. The walls he'd spent years building, the conditioning, the discipline. It fractured. He tried to breathe, tried to think, but all he could feel was her. The ghost of her hands on his face, the taste of her lips, the scent of her perfume. His mind latched onto her like a hook sinking into flesh. "Boss?" Minjun's voice cut through the fog. Ryan blinked, forced himself back. "We need to leave," Ryan said. His voice sounded strange, tight. "The meeting." "Cancel it." Minjun stared at him. "Sir?" "I said cancel it. Now." Ryan turned and walked toward the exit. Fast, controlled. But inside, he was falling apart. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. His chest felt too tight. His thoughts wouldn't stop replaying the kiss. Her face, her eyes, the way she smiled before she walked away. He didn't even know her name, but his mind was already obsessed, already spiraling, already breaking. Minjun followed him to the car in silence. Ryan climbed into the back seat, slammed the door. He pressed his palms against his knees, tried to steady his breathing, but it didn't work. The switch had flipped. After 10 years of silence, it roared back to life, and the girl who triggered it had no idea what she'd just done. Across the room, Ava walked past Deji without looking at him. His smirk was gone. She felt victorious, free. She had no idea she'd just signed her own fate. Ryan made it to the car before the first symptom hit. His vision sharpened. Everything became too clear, too bright, too loud. He could hear Minjun's breathing in the front seat, the hum of the engine, the distant music from the party. His senses were overloading. "Drive," Ryan ordered. Minjun didn't ask questions. He drove. Ryan leaned back, closed his eyes, but closing them didn't help, because all he saw was her face, her eyes, the curve of her lips, the way she grabbed him without hesitation, without fear, like he was just a man, not a weapon, not a ghost, not untouchable, just a man. And that terrified him. His hands curled into fists. His heartbeat wouldn't slow down. He tried the breathing techniques his therapist taught him years ago. 4 counts in, hold, 4 counts out. It didn't work. Nothing worked, because this wasn't panic. This was the switch. Stage 1 had already started. Hyper-awareness. He remembered everything about her, the exact shade of her brown skin, the gold undertone that caught the light, the shape of her eyes, wide, confident, fearless, the scent of her perfume, something warm, sweet, unfamiliar, the softness of her hands against his face. He could still feel it, like her touch had burned itself into his skin. "Who was she?" Ryan asked suddenly. Minjun glanced at him in the rear-view mirror. "Sir? The woman, who is she? I don't know. Should I find out?" Ryan hesitated. Every instinct screamed yes. He needed to know, needed her name, her background, where she lived, why she kissed him. But asking meant admitting something was wrong, and Ryan couldn't afford that, not yet. "No," he said finally. "Leave it." Minjun nodded, but Ryan knew he was lying to himself. By the time they reached his penthouse, stage 2 had begun. Obsession. He couldn't stop thinking about her. He replayed the kiss in his mind, over and over, analyzed every detail, every second. Why did she do it? Was it a setup? A trap? No. Her eyes didn't lie. She wasn't calculating. She was impulsive, reckless, beautiful. Ryan poured himself a drink. Whiskey. Neat. He downed it in one gulp. It didn't help. His mind wouldn't shut off. He wanted to see her again. Needed to. Not because he cared. Because his brain was screaming at him that she was important. That he couldn't let her disappear. It was irrational. Dangerous. But the switch didn't care about logic. He tried to sleep. Couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her walking away. Smiling. Free. Like she didn't just ruin him. His chest tightened. His breathing went shallow. He sat up, ran his hands through his hair. This was worse than he thought. By 3 a.m., Ryan gave in. He pulled out his phone. Texted Minjun. "Find her." The response came immediately. "Understood." Ryan set the phone down, stared at the ceiling. He knew what this meant. The switch was fully active now. The hyper-awareness, the obsession, the need to know everything about her. And soon the protectiveness would follow. Then the rage. He thought he'd buried this years ago, thought he was strong enough to control it. But one kiss shattered everything. One stranger broke 10 years of discipline. And the worst part? She had no idea. She probably went home, laughed with her friends, forgot about him entirely, while Ryan sat alone in the dark, unraveling. He clenched his jaw. This couldn't happen. He wouldn't let it. He'd find out who she was, make sure she stayed away, end this before it got worse. That's what he told himself. But deep down, Ryan knew the truth. It was already too late. The monster was awake, and it wanted her. Ryan didn't sleep that night. He sat in his penthouse, alone, staring at nothing. His body felt wrong. His heart raced for no reason. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. His skin felt too tight. He recognized the signs immediately. The switch wasn't just active, it was spreading. By morning, Min Jun had answers. He walked into Rion's office with a tablet, set it down carefully. Her name is Ava Nkem, Min Jun said. 24, Nigerian-American, fashion design student, been in Seoul for 4 months. Rion stared at the screen. There she was, a photo from her student ID, smiling, bright, innocent. His chest tightened. Background? Rion asked. Clean, no criminal ties, no debts, no enemies. She's nobody. Nobody. That should have been reassuring. It wasn't. Because if she was nobody, that meant the kiss wasn't strategic, wasn't planned. It was random, impulsive, and that made it worse. Why did she do it? Ryan asked quietly. Min Jun hesitated. Security footage shows her staring at a man across the room before she approached you. We ran his face. Name's Deji Okonkwo. He's her ex. Rion finished. Min Jun nodded. Seems like it. She kissed you to make him jealous. Silence. Ryan's jaw clenched. She used him, grabbed him, kissed him. Triggered the worst psychological spiral of his life. And it was all to prove a point to some man who didn't matter. He should have been angry, but all he felt was the pull, the need to see her again, to understand her, to keep her close. It didn't make sense, and that terrified him. Delete the footage, Ryan said. Already done. Good. Now stay away from her. Min Jun frowned. Sir? I don't want her followed. I don't want her investigated further. Leave her alone. Min Jun studied him carefully. Are you sure that's wise? Ryan's eyes went cold. I gave you an order. Min Jun nodded, left without another word. But Ryan couldn't follow his own command. Over the next 3 days, the symptoms got worse. He couldn't focus during meetings. His mind drifted. He saw her face in every crowd. He caught himself checking his phone, searching her name online, looking at photos of her work. He knew where she lived, where she studied, what coffee shop she went to every morning. He told himself it was just information, just control, but it wasn't. It was obsession. Stage 3 arrived on the 4th day, protectiveness. Ryan was in a strategy meeting when one of his lieutenants mentioned a minor incident near the university district. Some local gang tried shaking down students for protection money. Ryan's entire body went rigid. Which university? The lieutenant blinked. Hongik. Why? That was her school. Ryan stood abruptly. Handle it. Sir, it's just low level. I said handle it, now. The room went silent. Min Jun watched him carefully. Ryan left before anyone could ask questions. That night, the gang was gone. Not arrested, not warned, gone. Ryan didn't remember giving the order, but his men knew better than to question him. By the end of the week, Ryan couldn't lie to himself anymore. The switch was fully active. He was hyper-aware of her existence, obsessed with her safety, irrationally protective of a woman he didn't even know. And the worst part? He hadn't seen her since the kiss, hadn't spoken to her, hadn't touched her again. But his mind had already claimed her. He stood at his window, staring out at the city. His reflection looked hollow, tired. He'd spent 10 years burying this, and one kiss brought it all back. Min Jun entered quietly. Boss, we have a problem. Ryan didn't turn. What? Word spreading. About the kiss. People saw. They're asking questions. Let them ask. They think she's important to you. Rion's jaw tightened. If they think that, Minjun continued carefully, she becomes a target. Silence. Rion closed his eyes. He knew what that meant. His enemies would come for her, not because she mattered, but because they thought she did. And the terrifying truth? She did matter. Not because he loved her, but because his broken mind had already decided she was his. Minjun had worked for Rion for 8 years. He'd seen him kill without hesitation, make impossible decisions without blinking, survive betrayals that would break most men. But he'd never seen him like this. It started with small things. Ryan missing details in reports, asking the same question twice, staring off into space during briefings, then bigger things, snapping at his lieutenants for minor mistakes, leaving meetings early without explanation, refusing to eat. And the worst part? The look in his eyes, unfocused, restless, haunted. Minjun recognized it. He'd seen it once before, years ago, before Ryan became the ghost, back when he was unstable, dangerous, broken. How long has he been like this? One of the enforcers whispered during a meeting Rion left abruptly. Since the party, Minjun said quietly. The woman? Minjun nodded. The enforcer frowned. He didn't even know her. Why would she affect him? Minjun didn't answer, because the truth was worse than they realized. That night, Minjun found Rion in his office. It was 2 a.m. Rion sat at his desk, staring at his laptop, not moving. Boss, Minjun said carefully. Rion didn't look up. Minjun stepped closer, glanced at the screen, security footage from the party, playing on a loop. The moment Ava kissed him, over and over. Minjun's stomach dropped. You need to stop, Minjun said quietly. Stop what? This, whatever this is. Rion finally looked at him. His eyes were hollow, tired. I'm fine. You're not. Silence. She's just a girl, Minjun continued. A random student who made a stupid decision. She doesn't know who you are, doesn't know what she did. You need to let this go. Rion's jaw tightened. I said I'm fine. You haven't slept in days. You can't focus. You're making mistakes. I don't make mistakes. You do now. Rion stood abruptly, turned away. His hands gripped the edge of the desk. I can handle this, he said tightly. Can you? Rion didn't answer, because he wasn't sure anymore. Minjun stepped closer, lowered his voice. Is it happening again? Rion went still. The switch, Minjun pressed. Is it back? Silence. Sir, if it's back, we need to deal with it now, before it gets worse. It's not back, Rion lied. Then why are you watching her on a loop at 2 a.m.? Rion's hands curled into fists. He wanted to deny it, to tell Minjun he was wrong, but he couldn't, because Minjun was right. I buried it, Rion said quietly. For 10 years, I buried it. And she brought it back. Rion closed his eyes. One kiss. That's all it took. Minjun exhaled slowly. What do you need? Distance, time, control. You want me to make her disappear? No. Rion's voice turned sharp, dangerous. Minjun raised his hands. I didn't mean, don't touch her, don't go near her, don't even think about her. The protectiveness in his tone was unmistakable. Minjun saw it immediately. Stage 3. It had already started. Boss, Minjun said carefully, if your enemies figure out she matters to you, they'll use her. You know that. She doesn't matter. Then why are you protecting her? Ryan didn't answer, because he didn't have one. Minjun watched him for a long moment, then sighed. I'll keep her under surveillance, quietly, just to make sure she's safe. I told you to stay away from her. And I'm telling you that if you won't protect yourself, I will. Rion turned. His eyes were cold, deadly. But Minjun didn't back down. You're not just my boss, Minjun said. You're my friend, and I'm not letting you destroy yourself over a woman who doesn't even know your name. Rion stared at him, then looked away. Do what you need to do, he said quietly. Just keep her safe. Minjun nodded and left. Alone again, Ryan sat back down, stared at the frozen image of Ava on his screen, her smile, her confidence, her freedom. She had no idea what she'd done to him, no idea that his entire world was collapsing because of 3 seconds. And the worst part? He didn't want to let her go, even though keeping her close would destroy them both. Ryan told himself it was just surveillance, just information, just control. But by the second week, he knew he was lying. He knew her schedule by heart. She woke up at 6:30 a.m. every morning, went for a run at 7, grabbed coffee at the same shop by 8. Classes started at 9, ended at 4. She stayed late in the studio 3 nights a week, working on designs, sketching, sewing. Fridays, she met her friend Hannah for dinner. Sundays, she video called her family back in the States. Ryan knew all of it, not because he needed to, because he couldn't stop himself. He watched the surveillance footage Minjun sent, told himself it was just to make sure she was safe, but he watched for hours. The way she laughed with her classmates, the way she bit her lip when she concentrated, the way she danced alone in her apartment when she thought no one was watching. She was alive in a way he'd forgotten existed, free, joyful, unbroken, and he was addicted to it. At night, he replayed the kiss, not the footage, the memory, the warmth of her skin, the softness of her lips, the boldness in her eyes. He could still smell her perfume, still feel the ghost of her hands on his face. It haunted him. His work suffered. He missed calls, forgot meetings, signed contracts without reading them. His lieutenants noticed, whispered, worried. But Ryan didn't care. All he cared about was her. He started finding excuses to be near her, not close, never close, but near. He'd drive past her apartment, sit in cafes across from her coffee shop, watch from a distance as she walked to class. He told himself he was just checking, just making sure no one was following her. But the truth was simpler. He just wanted to see her. One night, she stayed late at the studio. Ryan watched from his car across the street. She was alone, working on a dress form, pinning fabric. She looked tired, beautiful, focused. He wanted to go inside, to talk to her, to hear her voice. But he didn't, because he knew what would happen if he did. The switch would pull him deeper, and he was already drowning. Then she made a mistake. She grabbed her bag, locked the studio, started walking home, alone, at midnight, through empty streets. Ryan's chest tightened immediately. His pulse spiked. Stage 3 roared to life. He got out of the car, followed her from a distance. She didn't notice. Too distracted, earbuds in, head down. Ryan's eyes scanned every shadow, every alley, every person on the street. His hand moved to the gun under his jacket. Nothing happened. She made it home safely, but Ryan stood outside her building for 20 minutes, just watching, just making sure. When he finally got back to his penthouse, his hands were shaking, not from fear, from the realization of how far gone he already was. He didn't know her, hadn't spoken to her since the kiss, but his mind had already claimed her, already decided she was his responsibility, his priority, his. It wasn't love, it was the switch, a psychological imprint his broken brain couldn't erase. He poured himself a drink, downed it, poured another. He needed to stop this, needed to walk away before it got worse. But every time he tried, his mind screamed at him. She's not safe. She's vulnerable. She needs you. It was irrational, insane, but it felt real. Minjun called. Boss, we have a problem. Ryan's blood went cold. What? Cameras picked up someone watching her apartment, not one of ours. Ryan's grip tightened on the phone. Who? We don't know yet. Could be nothing. Could be... Find out. Now. He hung up, stood, stared out at the city. His enemies were already circling. They'd seen the kiss, assumed she mattered. And now they were watching her, waiting for their chance. Ryan's jaw clenched. He told himself he'd let her go, that he'd stay away, But the moment someone threatened her, all of that disappeared. Because the switch didn't just make him obsessed, it made him dangerous. And anyone who came near her was already dead. They just didn't know it yet. The underworld had eyes everywhere, and they all saw the kiss. Viktor Sokolov ran the Russian syndicate in Seoul. He'd been rivals with Rion for years, competing for territory, contracts, power. But he never had leverage. Rion was too careful, too disciplined, too cold, until now. Viktor sat in his office, watching the footage for the third time. The party, the kiss, Rion's reaction. He paused on Rion's face, zoomed in. There, a crack in the mask. Rion's eyes weren't empty anymore. They were shocked, shaken, human. Viktor smiled. "Who is she?" he asked. His second-in-command pulled up a file. "Ava Income, student. No ties to anyone. Seems random." "Nothing about Rion is random." Viktor leaned back, studied the screen. "He's been untouchable for years," Viktor said slowly. "No attachments, no weaknesses, nothing we could exploit. And now? Now he has one." Word spread fast. Other syndicates, rival families, enemies Rion had made over the years, they all saw the same thing. The ghost had reacted to a woman, and reaction meant vulnerability. A Chinese triad boss called Viktor 2 days later. "You see what I see?" the man asked. "I see opportunity," Viktor replied. "She's nobody, a student, but he's watching her." Viktor frowned. "How do you know?" "We've had eyes on her for a week. His men are everywhere, subtle, but there." Viktor's smile widened. If Rion was protecting her, she mattered. And if she mattered, she could be used. Not everyone wanted to move immediately. Some thought it was a trap, that Rion was baiting them, but Viktor knew better. "He's not that clever anymore," Viktor said during a meeting with 3 other syndicate leaders. "Something's changed. He's distracted, sloppy." "How do you know?" "Because his men are asking questions, trying to figure out who's watching the girl. That means he's worried, and Ryan doesn't worry unless something's wrong." Silence. "So what's the play?" one of the leaders asked. Viktor leaned forward. "We test him, push on the girl, see how he reacts. And if he doesn't care, then we back off. But if he does..." Viktor's eyes gleamed. "Then we've found the one thing that can break him." Meanwhile, Ava had no idea she was being watched. By Ryan's men, by Viktor's men, by half the criminal underworld in Seoul. She went to class, worked on her designs, met Hana for coffee. Everything felt normal, except for the strange feeling she couldn't shake, like she was being followed. She mentioned it to Hana one afternoon. "I keep seeing the same car," Ava said. "Black sedan. It's been outside my building 3 times this week." Hana frowned. "You sure?" "I think so. Maybe I'm being paranoid." "Girl, this is Seoul. There are a million black sedans." Ava nodded, but the unease didn't go away. That night she noticed it again. The same car, parked across the street, tinted windows, engine off. Her stomach tightened. She hurried inside, locked the door, told herself she was overreacting. But deep down, she knew something was wrong. What she didn't know was that there were 2 cars. One belonged to Rion's men, watching, protecting. The other belonged to Viktor's men, studying, waiting. And in his penthouse, Rion got the report. 3 different groups have been spotted near her, Min-jun said. Russians, Chinese, and a local crew we don't recognize. Rion's expression didn't change, but his knuckles went white. "They're testing me," he said quietly. "What do you want to do?" Ryan was silent for a long moment. Then he stood. "Double her security. I want eyes on her 24/7. If anyone gets within 10 feet of her, I want to know immediately." Min-jun hesitated. "Boss, that's going to confirm what they suspect." "I don't care. If they know she matters..." "She doesn't matter," Rion snapped. But his voice betrayed him. Min-jun saw it, heard it. The protectiveness, the desperation. Rion was already too far gone. And across the city, Victor received confirmation. He's protecting her, heavy surveillance, round the clock. Victor laughed. The ghost has a weakness, he said, and we're going to exploit it. Ava went to bed that night thinking about black cars and paranoia. She had no idea she'd just become the most valuable target in Seoul's underworld. Ava noticed the men first, 3 days in a row. Same coffee shop, same corner table, different men each time. But they all watched her the same way. Not like creeps, not like men who wanted something, like guards. It unsettled her. Then came the car incidents. She'd see a black sedan following her to campus. Different license plate every time. When she walked home, another car would appear, crawling along the curb behind her. She tried changing routes, leaving at different times. The cars changed, too, but they never disappeared. Hannah noticed her paranoia growing. "You're acting weird," Hannah said over lunch. "Jumpy, distracted. I think someone's following me." Hannah's eyes widened. "What? Who?" "I don't know, but I keep seeing the same cars, different men watching me." "Have they approached you?" "No, they just watch." Hannah frowned. "Maybe you should call the police." Ava considered it. But what would she say? Men are looking at me in public? Cars are driving on the same streets I use? She had no proof, no evidence, just a feeling. But the feeling got worse. Her apartment building's security guard started asking questions. "You expecting visitors, miss?" "No, why?" "Someone's been asking about you, which unit you're in, what time you come and go." Ava's blood ran cold. "Who?" "Didn't give a name, just said he was a friend." "What did he look like?" The guard shrugged. "Tall, expensive suit, foreign accent." Ava didn't know anyone like that. She started locking her door twice, checking the windows before bed. Her classmates noticed her distraction. "Ava, you good?" one of them asked during a late studio session. "You've been spacing out." "I'm fine, just tired." But she wasn't fine. She felt like prey, like something invisible was circling her, and she had no idea why. Then things escalated. She came home one night to find her apartment door unlocked. She froze in the hallway, heart pounding. She knew she'd locked it. She always locked it. Slowly, she pushed the door open. Everything looked normal, nothing missing, nothing moved, but someone had been inside. She could feel it. Ava didn't sleep that night. She sat on her couch, lights on, phone in hand. Every sound made her jump. By morning, she was exhausted, terrified. She called Hannah. "I need to stay with you for a few days." "What happened?" "Someone was in my apartment." "What? Did you call the police?" "No, I don't have proof, but I know someone was there." Hannah didn't argue. "Pack a bag. Come now." What Ava didn't know was that 2 groups had entered her apartment that night. Ryon's men came first, swept for bugs, checked for threats, left no trace. Victor's men came second, planted a tracker in her bag, took photos of her space. Both groups missed each other by 11 minutes. Ryan found out within the hour. They were inside her apartment? His voice was dangerously calm. Min-jun nodded. Russians. They didn't take anything, just looked around. And where were our men? Watching the building. We didn't expect them to breach. Ryon's jaw clenched. That's not good enough. "Boss, if we get more aggressive, everyone will know." "I don't care what they know." Ryon's eyes were cold, dark. "She's not safe. Fix it." Min-jun left immediately. Ryon stood alone in his office. His hands shook with suppressed rage. They'd been in her home, her private space, where she slept, where she felt safe, and he wasn't there to stop it. The protectiveness surged so violently it made his chest hurt. He wanted to go to her, to tell her the truth, to move her somewhere secure. But he couldn't, because seeing her again would make everything worse. The switch was already spiraling out of control. One conversation, one touch, and he'd never let her go. So instead, he did the only thing he could. He gave orders, quiet ones, deadly ones. Anyone who came near her apartment again wouldn't leave alive. And across the city, Ava packed a bag with trembling hands. She didn't understand what was happening, didn't know why her life suddenly felt dangerous. All she knew was that ever since that kiss, everything had changed, and she had no idea it was only going to get worse. The meeting was routine, territory disputes, payment schedules, standard business. Rion sat at the head of the table, 8 lieutenants around him. He should have been focused. He wasn't. His mind kept drifting. To Ava's apartment, the unlocked door, the fear she must have felt, to the men who violated her space, to the fact that she was staying with a friend now, scared, confused, because of him, because she kissed him. Boss? Rion blinked, looked up. One of his lieutenants was staring at him, waiting. I asked about the shipment, the man said carefully. Do we move forward or delay? Rion's jaw tightened. What shipment? Silence. The lieutenant exchanged glances with the others, the one we've been discussing for the past 10 minutes. Rion hadn't heard a word. Delay it, he said flatly. But sir, if we delay, we lose the window. I said delay it. The lieutenant nodded quickly. Back down. But the tension in the room thickened. Min-jun watched from the corner, concerned. This wasn't like Rion. He never lost focus, never missed details. But for the past 2 weeks, he'd been somewhere else entirely. The meeting continued. Rion tried to pay attention, tried to care. But then his phone buzzed, a message from one of his men watching Ava. She's moving again, different location, we're following. Rion's pulse spiked immediately. Why was she moving? Was she in danger? Did someone find her? His hand curled into a fist under the table. Boss, what do you think? Rion looked up sharply. About what? Another lieutenant. Another question he didn't hear. The alliance with the Japanese group, the man repeated slowly. Do we accept their terms? Rion stared at him blankly. He had no idea what terms they were talking about. We'll revisit it later, Rion said, but they need an answer by tonight. I said later. The room went silent. One of the younger lieutenants made a mistake. He muttered under his breath, barely audible. What's wrong with him? Rion heard it. His head snapped toward the man, eyes cold, deadly. What did you say? The lieutenant went pale. Nothing, sir, Stand up. The man hesitated, then stood. Rion rose slowly, walked around the table. Everyone else froze. You think I'm distracted? Rion's voice was dangerously calm. No, sir, I didn't mean... You think I'm weak? No, I swear. Rion grabbed him by the throat, slammed him against the wall. The impact cracked the plaster. The room erupted. Men stood, shouted, reached for weapons. But Min-jun raised a hand, stopped them. Everyone sit down, Min-jun ordered. Now. They obeyed, slowly. Rion's grip tightened. The lieutenant clawed at his hand, gasping, choking. Rion's vision tunneled. His mind screamed. Threat, disrespect, eliminate. It wasn't rational, wasn't proportional. It was the switch. Boss, Min-jun's voice cut through the fog, calm, steady. Let him go. Rion didn't move. He's not worth it, Min-jun continued. Let him go. Slowly, Rion's fingers loosened. The lieutenant collapsed, coughing, gasping for air. Rion stepped back. His hands were shaking. He looked around the room, at the fear in their eyes, the confusion, the shock. They didn't understand what just happened, neither did he. Meeting's over, Rion said quietly. He turned, walked out, left them all staring. Min-jun found him in his office 20 minutes later. Rion stood by the window, fists clenched, breathing uneven. That can't happen again, Min-jun said. I know. You almost killed him over nothing. I know. Silence. It's getting worse, isn't it? Min-jun asked quietly. Rion didn't answer, because the truth was obvious. The switch wasn't just active anymore, it was taking over. His emotional control was slipping, his judgment failing, his violence escalating, all because of a woman he'd never even spoken to, a woman who had no idea he was unraveling. I need to see her, Rion said suddenly. Min-jun's eyes widened. That's a terrible idea. I need to explain, to warn her, to To make it worse, Minjun interrupted. Boss, if you see her again, you won't be able to walk away. You know that. Ryan closed his eyes. He did know, but the need was stronger than logic, stronger than fear, stronger than anything he'd ever felt. Set up a meeting, Ryan said quietly. Sir, do it. Minjun hesitated, then nodded and left. Alone, Ryan stared at his reflection in the window. He looked like his father, cold, dangerous, broken, and he hated it. But he couldn't stop. The monster was awake, and it wanted her. Ava was tired of being scared, tired of looking over her shoulder, tired of sleeping on Hannah's couch, tired of feeling like a prisoner in her own life. So she made a decision. She was going back to her normal routine. Classes, studio, coffee shop. She refused to let paranoia control her. Hannah disagreed. You don't know what's going on, Hannah said. Someone was in your apartment. You should stay careful. I've been careful for 2 weeks. Nothing's happened. Exactly. Don't test it. But Ava was done hiding. She left campus late that evening. The studio session ran long. By the time she finished, it was past 10 p.m. The streets were quiet. Fewer people. Dimmer lights. She texted Hannah she was on her way and headed toward the subway station. She didn't notice the car following her, or the 2 men who got out 3 blocks away. The subway platform was nearly empty. Just a few people scattered along the benches, waiting. Ava checked her phone. Train arriving in 4 minutes. She exhaled. Almost there. Then she felt it. Someone behind her, too close. She turned. 2 men, both tall, both watching her with cold eyes. One spoke, accent thick, Russian. Ava Encom? Her stomach dropped. Who are you? The man smiled, not friendly. Someone wants to meet you. I don't know you. Leave me alone. She turned to walk away. One of them grabbed her arm. Ava yanked back. Let go of me. Don't make this difficult, the man said. The second man stepped closer, blocking her path. Panic surged through her. She looked around. The platform was emptying. No one was paying attention. Help, she shouted. One man covered her mouth. She bit down hard. He cursed, pulled back. Then everything happened fast. A third man appeared, not Russian, Asian, dressed in black. He moved like lightning, grabbed the first Russian by the neck, slammed him into the ground. The second Russian reached for a weapon. The man in black was faster. A single strike. The Russian collapsed. Ava stumbled backward, heart racing, breath shallow. More men appeared, 4 of them, all in black. They surrounded her, not threatening, protecting. One stepped forward, older, calm. You're safe, he said in perfect English. Come with us. Who are you? Friends. I don't have friends who do that. She gestured at the unconscious Russians. The man's expression didn't change. You do now. Before Ava could argue, he turned to his men, spoke in Korean. They moved immediately, dragging the Russians away, erasing evidence. It took less than 2 minutes, like they'd done it 1,000 times. You need to come with us, the man said again. It's not safe here. I'm not going anywhere with you. Then they'll come back, with more men, and we won't always be here to stop them. Ava's throat tightened. Why are they after me? What do they want? The man hesitated. That's not my question to answer. Then whose is it? Silence. Please, the man said quietly. Come with us. Someone needs to explain. Ava's mind raced. These men just saved her life. But they were clearly dangerous, and whoever sent them knew she was in danger before she did. Who sent you? She demanded. The man met her eyes. The man you kissed at the party. Ava's breath caught. The stranger? The one she grabbed on impulse? The one she hadn't thought about since? Why does he care? She whispered. Because you made him care, and now you're in danger because of it. Ava felt the ground tilt beneath her. This wasn't random, wasn't coincidence. Everything that had been happening, the cars, the men, the break-in, it was all connected to one kiss, to one stranger, to one moment of reckless stupidity. What's his name? Ava asked quietly. The man paused, then answered, Rion. The name meant nothing to her, but the weight in the man's voice told her everything. Whoever Ryan was, he was dangerous, and she'd just dragged herself into his world without even knowing it. "Take me to him," Ava said. The man nodded, and within minutes she was in the back of a black car, heading toward answers she wasn't sure she wanted. The car drove in silence. Ava sat in the back, hands folded, mind racing. She had 1,000 questions, no answers, and no idea where they were taking her. 20 minutes later, they stopped, in front of a sleek building, glass, steel, money. The man opened her door. "This way." Ava hesitated, then got out. They led her through a private entrance, into an elevator, up. No words, no explanations, just silence. The elevator opened into a penthouse. Minimalist, cold, expensive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, and standing by those windows was him, Ryan. He didn't turn immediately, just stood there, hands in his pockets, silhouette sharp against the lights. Ava recognized him instantly, the stranger from the party, the man she kissed. Her stomach twisted. The man in black bowed slightly, then left. The elevator doors closed. Now it was just the two of them. Rion turned slowly, and Ava's breath caught. He was more striking than she remembered. Tall, sharp features, intense eyes. But there was something else, something darker. He looked at her like she was the only thing in the room, the only thing that mattered. It unsettled her. "You're Ava," he said. His voice was calm, controlled. "And you're Ryan." He nodded. Silence. "Why am I here?" Ava asked. Her voice was steadier than she felt. "Because men just tried to take you. I noticed. Your men stopped them." "They did? Why?" Rion's jaw tightened slightly. "Because you're in danger." "Because of you." He didn't deny it. Ava crossed her arms. "I don't understand. I don't know you. I kissed you once. At a party. That's it. That's enough. For what? For people to think you matter to me. Do I?" Ryan stared at her, silent. "I didn't think so," Ava said. "So why do they think I do?" "Because I reacted." "To what?" "To you." Ava frowned. "I don't understand." Ryan exhaled slowly, looked away. The kiss was filmed. People saw it. People who know me. So? So I don't let people touch me, ever. And you did. And that's a problem. In my world, yes. Ava's heart pounded. What world is that? Ryan met her eyes again. A dangerous one. "Are you a criminal?" He didn't answer, but his silence was answer enough. Ava took a step back. "Oh my God." "I didn't ask you to kiss me," Ryan said quietly. "But you did. And now my enemies think you're important. So they're using you to get to me. Then tell them I'm not. I tried. They don't believe me." "Why not?" "Because I'm protecting you, and I don't protect people unless they matter." Ava stared at him. "So what am I supposed to do?" "Stay close. Let my men keep you safe until this blows over." "And if it doesn't blow over?" Ryan's expression darkened. "It will." But Ava heard the lie in his voice. She shook her head. "This is insane. I kissed a stranger, that's all. I didn't sign up for this." "I know. Then fix it." "I'm trying." "Try harder." Ryan stepped closer, and Ava felt it immediately. The shift in the air, the intensity radiating off him. He stopped a few feet away, close enough that she could see the tension in his jaw, the storm in his eyes. "You think this is easy for me?" he said quietly. "I don't care if it's easy. I care that my life is falling apart because of you." "You think mine isn't?" Ava blinked. "What?" Ryan looked away, his hands curled into fists. "You have no idea what you did to me," he said, voice tight. "That kiss, it wasn't just a kiss, not for me." "Then what was it?" He didn't answer. Ava studied him. For the first time, she saw past the coldness, past the danger. She saw something broken, something barely holding together. "What happened to you?" she whispered. Ryan's eyes met hers, and for a moment she saw the truth, the cracks, the chaos, the damage. But then he looked away. "It doesn't matter," he said. "What matters is keeping you alive." "I didn't ask you to." "I know, but I'm going to anyway." Ava wanted to argue, to scream, to walk out, but she saw something in his eyes that stopped her. Desperation, like he was holding on by a thread, and she was the only thing keeping him from breaking. Ryan couldn't stop looking at her. She stood across the room, arms crossed, guarded, and all he wanted to do was close the distance, touch her, hold her, make sure she was real. It terrified him. "You need to leave Seoul," he said finally. Ava's eyes widened. "What?" "Go back to the States tonight. I'll arrange everything." "You're not serious." "I am. I have a life here, school, friends, dreams." "You won't have any of that if you're dead." Ava's jaw tightened. "I'm not running." "Then you're a fool." "Maybe, but it's my choice." Ryan's hands clenched. "You don't understand what you're up against." "Then explain it to me." "I just did." "No, you told me I'm in danger. You didn't tell me why you care." Silence. Ryan turned away, stared out the window, because he didn't have an answer that made sense. Not one he could say out loud. The truth was darker than danger, darker than duty. It was the switch. He didn't just want to protect her. He needed to. Every instinct screamed at him to keep her close, to know where she was every second, to eliminate every threat before it got near her. It wasn't rational. It was obsession. And it was getting worse. Standing this close to her made his heart race, made his thoughts spiral. He wanted to know everything about her, what she loved, what scared her, what made her smile. He wanted to hear her voice, touch her skin, feel her warmth. But he couldn't, because one touch would break him completely. "Why won't you look at me?" Ava asked quietly. Ryan's jaw clenched. "Because if I do, I won't let you leave." "What does that mean?" He turned, met her eyes. Big mistake. The pull was immediate, overwhelming. Her face, her presence. The way she looked at him like he was just a man, not a monster, not a weapon, just a man, and it wrecked him. "You need to go," he said, voice tight. "You just said I can't leave Seoul." "I meant leave this room, now, before what?" Ryan didn't answer, because the truth was too dangerous. "Before I do something I can't take back." Ava stepped closer. Ryan's entire body went rigid. "Stop," he said. "Why?" "Because you don't know what you're doing." "I'm just standing here." "That's enough." She frowned. "You're acting like I'm a threat." "You are." "How?" Ryan's eyes darkened. "Because every second you're near me, I lose more control." Ava stared at him. "Control of what?" "Myself." The confession hung in the air. Ava's breath caught. She saw it now, the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands shook, the storm in his eyes. He wasn't just dangerous. He was unstable. "What's wrong with you?" she whispered. Ryan looked away. "Nothing you need to know about." "If it's affecting me, I deserve to know." "It's not affecting you, it's affecting me." "Then why does it feel like you're barely holding it together?" Because he wasn't. The switch had evolved past protectiveness. It had become attachment, emotional, irrational, consuming. He craved her presence like oxygen, feared losing her like death. And the worst part? She didn't even know him. "I need you to stay away from me," Ryan said quietly. "You just said I need protection." "You do." Men will handle it." "Not you?" "No, not me." "Why?" "Because I'm the most dangerous thing in your life right now." Ava's heart pounded. She should have been scared, should have run. But instead, she felt something else. Curiosity. Concern. Like she was looking at someone drowning. "What happened to you?" she asked softly. Ryan closed his eyes. "It doesn't matter. It does to me." "Why?" "Because you're destroying yourself trying to protect me, and I don't even know why." Ryan opened his eyes. looked at her, and for the first time he told the partial truth. Because the moment you touched me, something inside me broke, and now I can't fix it. Ava stared at him. She didn't understand, but she saw the pain in his eyes, the desperation, the fear. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. I know. Then let me help. You can't. How do you know? Rion's voice dropped, dangerous, broken. Because the only way to help me is to disappear, and I can't let you do that. Ava's breath caught. She finally understood. He wasn't just protecting her. He was trapped by something she couldn't see, something she didn't cause, but something she'd awakened, and now neither of them could escape. Ava left the penthouse that night with more questions than answers. Ryan's men drove her back to Hannah's apartment. She didn't sleep, just replayed his words. Something inside me broke, and now I can't fix it. What did that mean? The next morning she went to class, tried to focus, tried to pretend everything was normal, but she felt the weight of eyes on her. Ryan's men, watching from a distance. She hated it, hated feeling like a prisoner. After class, she made a decision. She texted Hannah, "Need some air, going for a walk, be back soon." She slipped out the side exit before Ryan's men could follow. Just 10 minutes. That's all she needed. 10 minutes to feel free. She made it 5. The van came out of nowhere, screeched to a stop beside her. Doors flew open. 3 men jumped out. Ava screamed, tried to run. One grabbed her from behind, hand over her mouth. She bit down, kicked, fought. But they were too strong. They dragged her into the van, threw her onto the floor. Doors slammed shut. The van sped off. Ava's heart pounded. Panic flooded her veins. She tried to sit up. One of the men shoved her back down. "Stay quiet," he said in broken English, "or we hurt you." Ava's breath came in shallow gasps. This was real. This was happening. They drove for 20 minutes, then stopped, dragged her out. She was in a warehouse, empty, cold, dark. They tied her to a chair, hands behind her back. She didn't cry, didn't beg, just stared at them with fury in her eyes. One man made a phone call, spoke in Russian, then turned to her. "Your boyfriend will come for you," he said with a sick smile. "He's not my boyfriend. He will come anyway, and when he does, we kill him." Ava's stomach dropped. "I don't even know him," she said desperately. "Doesn't matter. He knows. You, and that's enough." Meanwhile, across the city, Ryan was in a meeting. His phone buzzed, a message from Min Jun. "She's gone." Ryan's blood went cold. He stood abruptly, left the room without a word, called Min Jun immediately. "What do you mean, gone?" "She left through the side exit. We lost her. Find her, now." "We're trying. Cameras show a van." Ryan didn't hear the rest. His vision tunneled. His chest tightened. His hands started shaking. She was taken. Someone had her, and he wasn't there. The switch didn't just activate, it exploded. Rage flooded his system, blinding, violent. His mind fractured into a single thought: get her back. Nothing else mattered. Not business, not strategy, not his own safety, just her. "Who took her?" Ryan's voice was deadly calm. "We're working on it. Find out in the next 10 minutes or I start killing people." Min Jun had never heard that tone before. Cold, empty, lethal. "Understood," he said quietly. Ryan ended the call. His entire body vibrated with suppressed violence. He couldn't think straight, couldn't breathe right. All he saw was her, alone, scared, hurt, and it was his fault. The psychological spiral began immediately. Panic, rage, desperation. His mind screamed at him. "You let her leave. You failed. She's going to die because of you." He slammed his fist into the wall. Once, twice, 3 times. Blood smeared the concrete. He didn't feel it. Min Jun burst into the room. Russians, Victor's crew, warehouse in Gangnam. Ryan's eyes went black. How many men? At least 12. "Get everyone, now." "Boss, we should plan." "I don't care about a plan. I want her back, and I want everyone who touched her dead." Min Jun saw it. the trigger state at its worst. Rion wasn't thinking, wasn't calculating. He was pure instinct, pure rage, completely unhinged. "We leave in 5 minutes, Rion said. He grabbed a gun, checked the clip. His hands were steady now, not from calm, from focus, singular, deadly. Minjun gathered 15 men, armed, ready. They moved fast, but not as fast as Rion's spiraling mind. In the van, Rion sat in silence, his jaw clenched, his eyes empty. He wasn't there anymore. He was somewhere darker, somewhere violent, somewhere his father had built. And when they arrived at the warehouse, Rion didn't wait for strategy, didn't wait for backup. He just walked straight through the front door, gun raised, eyes cold, mind shattered. Because Ava was inside, and anyone standing between him and her was already dead. They just didn't know it yet. The first man didn't even see Rion coming. One shot, center mass, down. The second man turned. Too slow. Rion put 2 bullets in him before he could raise his weapon. Alarms blared, shouting erupted. Rion didn't stop. He moved through the warehouse like death itself, methodical, unstoppable, silent. 3 men came around the corner. Rion didn't hesitate, shot the first, disarmed the second, broke his neck with his bare hands. The third tried to run. Rion shot him in the back. His men followed behind him, shocked. They'd seen Rion kill before, but never like this, never this brutal, this efficient, this cold. He wasn't calculating anymore. He was hunting. Inside the warehouse, Ava heard the gunfire. Her heart pounded. The Russians around her panicked. "He's here," one of them hissed. "How many men?" "I don't know. He's cutting through us like—" Another gunshot, closer. The man's radio went silent. Ava's breath came fast. She didn't know if she should be relieved or terrified. Someone was coming for her, but the violence was unlike anything she'd imagined. 2 Russians stayed with her, guns drawn. "If he comes through that door, we kill her," one said in Russian. Ava didn't understand the words, but she understood the tone. The door exploded open. Rion stepped through. Blood splattered across his shirt, his face, his hands, none of it his. The 2 Russians aimed at Ava. "Stop or she dies." Rion's eyes locked onto Ava. She looked terrified, tied to a chair, unharmed. Relief crashed through him so violently he almost staggered. Then his gaze shifted to the men. Guns pointed at her head, and something inside him snapped completely. He moved faster than thought, shot the first man through the skull before he could react. The second man fired, missed. Rion was already on him, grabbed his wrist, twisted, bone cracked. The man screamed. Rion didn't stop. He slammed the man's head into the concrete floor, once, twice, 3 times, until he stopped moving. Silence. Rion stood over the body, breathing hard. Blood dripped from his hands. His eyes were wild, unfocused. "Rion." Ava's voice cut through the haze. He turned, looked at her like he'd forgotten she was there. Then his expression cracked. He crossed the room in 3 strides, dropped to his knees in front of her. His hands shook as he untied the ropes. "Are you hurt?" His voice was raw, desperate. "No, I'm okay." "Did they touch you?" "No." "Did they hurt you?" "Rion, I'm fine." But he wasn't listening. He pulled the ropes off, checked her wrists, her arms, her face, looking for injuries that weren't there. His hands trembled violently. "Rion, stop!" Ava grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. "I'm okay." He stared at her, and she saw it. The cracks, the chaos, the complete psychological breakdown. He wasn't okay, not even close. "I thought—" His voice broke. "I thought I lost you." "You didn't. I should have been there. I should have—" "Stop." But he couldn't. The fear, the rage, the desperation. It all came crashing down at once. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tightly she could barely breathe. His whole body shook. Ava froze. This wasn't the cold, controlled man from the penthouse. This was someone shattered, someone breaking in real time. "I can't lose you," he whispered against her hair. "I can't." Ava's throat tightened. She didn't understand, but she felt it. The desperation, the fear, the intensity. It wasn't normal, it wasn't healthy, it was obsession. Minjun appeared in the doorway, saw Ryan on his knees, holding Ava, trembling. His expression darkened. This was worse than he thought. "Boss," Minjun said quietly, "we need to go." Ryan didn't move. "Boss?" Slowly, Ryan pulled back, looked at Ava one more time, then stood. His expression went cold again, empty, like he'd flipped a switch. But Ava saw the truth. The coldness was a mask. Underneath, he was falling apart. Ryan helped her to her feet, didn't let go of her hand, led her out of the warehouse, past the bodies, past the blood, past the destruction. Ava's legs shook. She'd never seen violence like this, never seen someone kill with such precision, such rage, and it was all for her. In the car, Ryan sat beside her, silent, staring at nothing. His hand still gripped hers, like if he let go, she'd disappear. Ava looked at him, at the blood on his clothes, the emptiness in his eyes, and she realized something terrifying. He wasn't protecting her out of duty. He was protecting her because he couldn't stop himself, because something inside him was broken, and she was the only thing holding it together. Ryan took her back to the penthouse, not to Hannah's apartment, not to her place. His. Ava didn't argue. She was too shaken, too exhausted. He led her inside, sat her on the couch. "I'll get you water," he said quietly. She nodded, watched him walk away. His movements were stiff, controlled, like he was forcing himself to stay calm. He returned with water, bandages, antiseptic. "You said you weren't hurt," he said. "I'm not." "Your wrists are red, from the ropes." He knelt in front of her, took her hand gently, started cleaning the marks. His touch was careful, tender, completely opposite to the violence she'd just witnessed. Ava watched him in silence. His jaw was clenched. His hands still trembled slightly. "Ryan," she said softly. He didn't look up. "What's wrong with you?" His hands stilled. "Nothing," he said. "Don't lie to me. Not after what I just saw." Silence. "You killed 12 people tonight," Ava continued, without hesitation, without mercy, like it was nothing. "They took you. And that justifies it?" "Yes." Ava pulled her hand back. "That's not normal." "I never said I was normal." "Then what are you?" Ryan finally looked at her. His eyes were dark, haunted. "Broken," he said quietly. Ava's breath caught. "What does that mean?" Ryan stood, turned away. "It means you should leave. Go back to your life, forget about me." "I can't forget about you. You just massacred people to save me. That's exactly why you need to leave. Stop pushing me away and tell me the truth." Ryan's hands curled into fists. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke. "I have a condition." Ava frowned. "What kind of condition?" "A psychological one, from childhood." He turned to face her. "My father raised me to be a weapon, trained me to suppress all emotion, all attachment, all weakness." Ava listened, silent. He succeeded. For years, I felt nothing. I was empty, controlled, perfect. His jaw tightened. But the suppression wasn't natural. It was forced, violent, and it created something dangerous inside me. "What?" Ava whispered. "A switch. When someone breaks through the conditioning, when someone touches me emotionally or physically in a way I don't expect, it triggers a reaction." "What kind of reaction?" Ryan's voice dropped. "Obsession, protectiveness, rage, loss of control." Ava stared at him. "I spent years burying it," Ryan continued, "learning to avoid all human contact, all closeness, all vulnerability. And then I kissed you." He nodded. "I broke the conditioning." "Yes." Ava's heart pounded. "So everything that's been happening, the men following me, the kidnapping, you losing control, it's all because of one kiss?" "Yes." "But I didn't know. I didn't mean—" "I know, but it doesn't matter. The damage is done." Ava stood, stepped closer. What does that mean for you? It means I'm losing control. The switch is active, and it's getting worse. How worse? Ryan met her eyes. I can't stop thinking about you. Can't stop needing to know you're safe. Can't stop the rage when someone threatens you. His voice cracked. I'm obsessed with you, Ava. And it's not love. It's not choice. It's a psychological disorder I can't control. Ava's breath came shallow. And there's no way to fix it? I don't know. The only thing that worked before was isolation, complete detachment. Then do that. I can't. Why not? Because every time I try to let you go, my mind screams at me that you'll die if I do. Silence filled the room. Ava processed his words. Ryan was sick, broken, dangerous, and she was the trigger. So what happens now? She asked quietly. Ryan looked away. I don't know, but you need to understand something. What? He turned back to her, eyes desperate. I'm not safe. Not for you. Not for anyone. You just saved my life. And I killed 12 people doing it, without hesitation, without remorse. His voice broke again. That's what I am, Ava. A weapon, a monster. And the longer you stay near me, the worse I'll become. Ava stared at him, saw the pain, the fear, the self-hatred. He wasn't lying. He genuinely believed he was destroying her. But she also saw something else, someone fighting, someone trying, someone desperate not to hurt her even though his own mind was tearing him apart. I'm not afraid of you, she said quietly. Ryan's eyes widened. You should be. Maybe, but I'm not. She stepped closer. Ryan went rigid. Don't, he warned. Why? Because if you touch me again, I won't be able to let you go. Ava stopped, inches away, looking into his broken eyes. Then maybe, she whispered, you don't have to. Ava stayed at the penthouse that night, not because Ryan asked, because she chose to. She slept in the guest room, door locked. Not because she feared him, because she needed space to think. The next morning, she found him in the living room. He hadn't slept, still wore the same blood-stained clothes, staring out the window, motionless. You need to rest, she said quietly. He didn't turn. I can't. Why not? Because every time I close my eyes, I see you tied to that chair, and I lose control all over again. Ava's chest tightened. She wanted to comfort him, but she didn't know how. Min-jun arrived an hour later. He looked exhausted, worried. He pulled Ryan aside, spoke in low tones. Ava couldn't hear everything, but she caught pieces. 3 episodes last night. He's getting worse. We need to make a decision. Ryan's jaw clenched. He glanced at Ava, then back at Min-jun. Not yet, he said quietly. Min-jun looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. After Min-jun left, Ava confronted him. What episodes? Ryan hesitated. It's nothing. Don't lie to me, not after everything you told me. Ryan exhaled slowly. After I brought you here, I had 3 panic attacks, violent ones. Ava's stomach dropped. What does that mean? It means my mind spiraled. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All I could feel was the fear of losing you. He looked at her. I broke furniture, put holes in walls. Min-jun had to restrain me. Ava's breath caught. Because of me? Because of what you represent. Safety, attachment. Everything my mind was trained to reject. He stepped closer. You're not just triggering obsession anymore, Ava. You're triggering full psychological breaks. So what are you saying? I'm saying that being near you is destroying me, and staying near me is destroying you. Ava wanted to argue, but she couldn't, because she saw the truth in his eyes. He was unraveling. Over the next few days, she saw it firsthand. Ryan couldn't focus, couldn't work, couldn't function. He watched her constantly, like she might disappear. When she went to another room, he tensed. When she left his sight for more than 5 minutes, he followed. Not aggressively, not controlling, but compulsively. Like his mind wouldn't let him rest unless he could see her. She also saw the violence. One of his men made a mistake during a briefing, mentioned her name carelessly. Ryan snapped, grabbed the man by the throat, slammed him against the wall, eyes wild, breathing ragged. Minjun intervened immediately, pulled Ryan back. The man collapsed, gasping. Ava watched from the doorway, horrified. Ryan saw her, and the rage drained instantly, replaced by shame. He walked past her without a word, locked himself in his office. Ava stood there, shaking. This wasn't love. This wasn't protection. This was sickness. That night, Minjun found her in the kitchen. "You need to leave," he said quietly. Ava looked at him. "He won't let me." "I know, but you need to try." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because he's dying slowly and you're the cause." Ava's throat tightened. "I didn't ask for this." No, but it doesn't change the truth." Minjun's expression was grave. "The longer you stay, the worse he gets. The episodes are increasing. The violence is escalating. He can't sleep, can't eat, can't think about anything but you." "So what am I supposed to do?" "Disappear. Go somewhere he can't find you. Let him detox." "And if that doesn't work?" Minjun looked away. "Then we'll have to consider other options." Ava's blood ran cold. What options? Minjun didn't answer, but his silence said everything. Later, Ava confronted Ryan. "Minjun says I need to leave." Ryan's expression went dark. "No." "He says you're getting worse." "I'll handle it." "You're not handling it. You're falling apart." Ryan stood, crossed the room, stopped inches from her. "I can't let you go," he said quietly. "You have to." "I physically can't. My mind won't let me." "Then we're both trapped." Ryan closed his eyes. "I know." Ava felt tears prick her eyes. "I can't save you, Ryan." "I'm not asking you to." "Then what are you asking?" He opened his eyes, looked at her with raw desperation. "Just stay alive. That's all I need. Just stay alive." Ava's heart broke, because she finally understood. He didn't want her love. He didn't want her affection. He just needed to know she existed, that she was safe, that she was breathing. And that realization terrified her, because it meant she wasn't a person to him anymore. She was a lifeline. And if she left, he might not survive it. But if she stayed, neither of them would. It started small. Ava went to the bathroom, locked the door, needed 5 minutes alone. By minute 3, Ryan was at the door. "Ava, I'm fine. Open the door. I'm using the bathroom." Silence, then his voice, tighter. "Ava, open the door." "Ryan, I'm fine. Just give me a second." She heard his breathing through the door, fast, uneven. "Ryan?" No answer. She opened the door. He was leaning against the wall, eyes closed, hands shaking. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I couldn't see you," he said quietly. "My mind told me something happened." "I was gone for 3 minutes." "I know, but I couldn't stop it." Ava stared at him. This was worse than she thought. The episodes escalated. She went to the kitchen. He followed. She went to the guest room. He stood outside. She looked out the window. He panicked that she was planning to leave. "I can't live like this," she said one night. "I know. Then let me go." "I can't." "You mean you won't?" "No, I mean I can't." His voice broke. "I've tried. Every night. I tell myself to let you leave, to let you go back to your life." He looked at her with hollow eyes. "But the second I imagine it, my mind spirals. I see you hurt, dead, gone, and I can't breathe." Ava's hands trembled. "So what? I'm your prisoner now." "No, you're free to leave whenever you want. But you'll follow me." Ryan didn't deny it. That night, Ava tested it. She packed a bag, walked to the door. Ryan didn't stop her, just watched, silent. She reached for the handle. "If you leave," he said quietly, "I won't stop you." She paused. "But you should know something." She turned. His eyes were empty, broken. "The moment you're gone, I'll lose what's left of my mind." Ava's throat tightened. "That's not fair." "I know. You can't put that on me." I'm not. I'm just telling you the truth. She dropped the bag, turned around, walked back into the penthouse. Because she couldn't do it. Couldn't walk away knowing what it would do to him. But the cost was her own sanity. Days blurred together. Ryan stopped pretending to work, stopped pretending to function. He just existed, watching her, needing her. Then the hallucinations started. Ava woke one night to find him standing over her bed. She gasped, sat up. "Ryan?" He didn't respond, just stared at her, eyes unfocused. "Ryan, what's wrong?" "You were gone," he whispered. "I'm right here." "No, you were gone. I saw it. You left. You died. Ryan, I'm here. I'm alive." She touched his hand. He flinched, then gripped hers desperately. "You're real," he breathed. "Yes. You're here. Yes." He sank to his knees beside the bed, head in his hands. "I'm losing my mind," he whispered. Ava's heart shattered. She'd never seen someone break like this. Slowly, painfully, completely. Minjun called a meeting the next day, with Ava, without Ryan. "He's having psychotic breaks," Minjun said bluntly. "Hallucinations, paranoia, violent outbursts. I know. It's going to get worse. What do you want me to do?" Minjun looked at her seriously. "There's a facility in Switzerland, specializes in trauma cases like his. You want to lock him up? I want to save his life." Ava's stomach turned. He'll never agree. He doesn't have to. We can commit him involuntarily. That's insane. So is what's happening now. Ava stood, paced. There has to be another way. There isn't. I've watched him for 8 years. I've never seen him like this. Minjun's voice softened. He's dying, Ava. His mind is eating itself alive. And you're the only thing keeping him conscious. But you can't fix him. Tears filled her eyes. So what? I just leave and let you lock him away? You leave and let us save him. Ava shook her head. I can't do that to him. You're killing him by staying. And abandoning him will kill him faster. Silence. Minjun sighed. Then we're all trapped, and we're all going down with him. That night, Ryan had the worst episode yet. He tore apart his office, screamed at shadows, attacked one of his own men who got too close to Ava. It took 4 people to restrain him. When he finally calmed, he looked at Ava, blood on his knuckles, tears on his face. I'm sorry, he whispered. And Ava realized the horrifying truth. He wasn't going to get better. The switch wasn't temporary, it was permanent. And she was watching him destroy himself, one day at a time. Ryan made the decision before dawn, while Ava slept. He couldn't do this anymore. Couldn't watch himself become the monster his father created. Couldn't watch her suffer because of him. He sat in his office, alone, wrote a letter, sealed it, left it on the table beside her bed. Then he left. Ava woke to silence. The penthouse felt empty. She knew immediately. He was gone. She found the letter. Hands shaking, she opened it. Ava, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. Not dead, just far away. Somewhere I can't hurt you anymore. I'm checking into the facility in Switzerland, the one Minjun mentioned. I don't know if it will work. I don't know if I can be fixed. But I know I can't keep doing this to you. You didn't ask for any of this. You were just a girl at a party trying to prove something to an ex who didn't deserve you. And I turned your life into a nightmare. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't let you go sooner. I'm sorry my broken mind made you a prisoner. I'm sorry for everything. You're free now. My men won't follow you. No one will bother you. Victor and the others have been dealt with. You're safe. Live your life. Finish school. Chase your dreams. Forget about me. I'll spend the rest of mine trying to forget about you, but I know I never will. Ryan Ava's hands trembled. Tears blurred her vision. She should have felt relief, freedom, but all she felt was emptiness. She called Minjun immediately. Where is he? On a plane. He'll be in Switzerland by tonight. You just let him go? He made the choice himself. For the first time in weeks, he was thinking clearly. How long will he be there? Minjun hesitated. I don't know. Could be months. Could be years. Ava's throat tightened. Will he be okay? I don't know, but it's his best chance. She hung up, sat in the empty penthouse, stared at the letter. She should leave, go back to her apartment, her life, her normalcy, but she couldn't move because part of her didn't want to leave. She spent the next week in limbo, returned to classes, saw Hana, pretended everything was fine, but it wasn't. She couldn't stop thinking about him, about the broken man who killed for her, bled for her, lost his mind for her. Hana noticed. You're different, she said one afternoon. I'm fine. You're not. What happened? Ava wanted to tell her, but how could she explain? 3 weeks later, she got a message from an unknown number. He's stable, still in treatment, asks about you sometimes, wants to know if you're safe. Minjun Ava stared at the message. Her chest ached. She typed a response. Tell him I'm okay. She hesitated, then added one more line. Tell him I'm waiting. She didn't know why she said it, didn't know if she meant it, but it felt true. Months passed. Ava finished her semester, started designing again, rebuilt her life piece by piece, but she never forgot him. And in Switzerland, Rion worked. Therapy, medication, isolation, fighting the switch, fighting his mind, fighting himself. Some days were better. Some days he saw her face and spiraled for hours, but he didn't give up because she was waiting, and that meant something. 1 year later, Ava's phone rang, unknown number. She answered. Ava. Her breath caught, his voice quieter, steadier. Ryan? Yeah. Silence. Silence. Are you okay? She asked. I'm better. Not fixed, but better. Where are you? Still in Switzerland, but I'm being released next month. Her heart pounded. And then? I don't know. I'm not the same person I was. Neither am I. More silence. I don't expect anything from you, Rion said quietly. I just wanted to hear your voice, to know you're really okay. I am. Good. He paused. I need to go. But Ava? Yeah? Thank you. For not running when you should have. For seeing me when I couldn't see myself. Tears filled her eyes. Take care of yourself, Ryan. You too. The line went dead. Ava sat there, phone in hand. She didn't know what would happen next. Didn't know if they'd ever see each other again. But she knew one thing. Their story wasn't over. It was just beginning, in a different way, a safer way, a way that might actually heal them both. And for the first time in a year, Ava smiled, because she wasn't afraid anymore of him, of herself, of what they'd become. They were broken, but they were still breathing, and that was enough, for now. Here's the real question. If someone's mind is broken, are they responsible for the damage they cause? Or is love enough to heal someone who was built to be a weapon? Comment below. Tell me, Team Ava or Team Ryan? Who was right? And subscribe because I'm bringing you more intense, twisted, emotional stories you won't be able to stop watching.